As a soldier who joined the regular army as a young boy in '78 and became an officer in 1980, technically I'm still in the army. I don't retire until 2020, and I've even got my ID card to prove that. However, I'm what they call an officer without a portfolio, and I'm a little too old in the tooth to do anything exciting. The most exciting thing I did, I think, once I moved past dodging bullets and various things like that, was to actually head up the Army Cadet Force, and that was probably the highlight of my career, which sounds strange when someone's been to Northern Ireland, Bosnia, Afghanistan, Iraq and things like that. But to watch the youth of today come forward and to see them develop from shy young individuals to become confident speakers and move out into the world is just awesome. And I will never ever forget my time in charge of the Army Cadet Force. Let me tell you about the Army itself, because that was a massive part of my life, being 40 years obviously. So, a small regular army of the United Kingdom that went to Flanders in 1914 was, at that time, the best trained, best organised, best equipped army which ever went to war. And there are very few people who would argue with that statement at that time. That army was decimated in the First Battle of Ypres in the winter of 1914. A new army was reconstructed from bottom up using the territorial force, of which I was a member when I left the regular army. Not quite the territorial force, it was the territorial army when I joined, with a friend over there, John Groom. And I was very proud to be a member of the territorial army at the time. And the territorial force continued with Kitchener's volunteers and conscription introduced later in 1916. In both wars, I would contend that the British Army was unprepared materially, tactically, and perhaps, above all, psychologically, for the job it was asked to do. In short, it lacked what we call in the military fighting power. Would you say that we are in the same position now? Well, I say that we still have the same issue with the Army and with all our armed forces, that we're prepared to fight the last war, not the next one. And we need to change that ethos. And that's what they tried to do in the First World War. So that's what the First World War did for us. So let's go back to that and say it was a war to end all wars. We had over 888,000 UK and Commonwealth personnel died in the First World War. In fact, as a British serviceman, you were more likely to die in the Crimean War than you were in the First World War. So why was it so important? Well, nearly a total of 7 million people died overall. It was fought in trenches with new weapons such as the repeating rifle, the machine gun, the tank and gas, and brought war into the modern world. 4 years ago, I spoke about opening of the World War I exhibit here and told you how proud you must be to have so many heroes within Hedon for such a small town. And forgive me for saying their names, but I will read out the ones that are listed, which is Walter James Courtley, Lawrence Courtley, who he and his brother I researched quite a lot, Robert Haylett Cooper, Ernest Robert Cooper, John Day, Sidney Austin Dixie, Walter Fairbank, Clive Gillette, John Howard Hill, Jesse Lear, Edward Lonsdale, Alexander MacDonald, Arthur Rignall, Alfred Robson, Arthur Thorpe, Wilson Turnbull, Thomas Underwood, William Warren, William Watson, John Webb and Herbert Wilson. All of those died from Hedon in the First World War. All of those died heroes. And they died to try to set us free and to make sure that we kept our freedom. They paid the ultimate price. So I looked at Lawrence from George Street, number 1 George Street, Hedon, and I looked and noticed that he had 11 children, that he was one of 11 children, that he enlisted in Hull. I can forgive him for that. He served as a sergeant, and I think it's great to have a number that begins 1, 2, 3. I mean, actually marvellous. I mean, a number of people have said I've been in the army so long, my number should be 1, but hey. He joined the Yorkshire Hussars, and he died in Italy, can you believe, on the 28th of October 1918. How close could he get to making it through? He was aged just 23. His brother was a private in the East Yorkshire Regiment and died of wounds at Boppy Wood in May 1970, aged 20. Be proud of these people, be proud of all of them that were there, because they did you proud. I am not a badge of honour, I'm not a racist smear, I'm not a fashion statement to be worn but once a year. I'm not a glorification of conflict or of war, I'm not a paper ornament, a token, I am more. I am a loving memory of a father or a son, a permanent reminder of each and every one. I'm paper or enamel, I'm old or shining new. I'm a way of saying thank you to every one of you. I am a single poppy, a reminder to you all that courage, faith and honour will stand where heroes fall. A lady had lost 5 sons within the Civil War, and Abraham Lincoln wrote a letter to her. And I thought it'd be nice to read out that letter. It's only short for some. And it said, "Dear Madam," and forgive the language because of course Abraham Lincoln was very flowery with his language. So. I have been shown in the files of the War Department a statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any words of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering to you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid down so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Yours very sincerely and respectfully, Abraham Lincoln. As a final, I suppose, the final bit of this, I would like to read a famous poem from a Canadian Lieutenant Colonel, John McCrae, which I think most of you will know. But I do think, because it's so poignant to me, that I would like to read it to you as a close of this little chat. And that is because I, as a boy soldier, literally just out of university and straight over to Northern Ireland, witnessed my first death as someone that I knew, which was a soldier out there. And that, because I was the youngest, I had to stand up and I had to read something. And they thrust this in my hand, and I read this bit. And it was a poem by John McCrae. This was written about the First World War from his exploits in the First World War as a physician, a Canadian physician. And he was very moved by what happened within the First World War. So he wrote a wonderful poem. So I'll finish with that, if I may. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, and if ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.